The following podcast is part of our Best of Invisible Wheelchair podcast for 2017. It was previously broadcast this past year and is being rebroadcast here. Welcome to another edition of the Invisible Wheelchair Interview Podcast. I'm Donald Grodoff, family coach with FamilyOCD.com, FocusedHealthyFamily.com, and of course, InvisibleWheelchair.com. In the Invisible Wheelchair interviews, I get the wonderful chance to interview some of the experts with obsessive compulsive disorders, professionals that treat OCD, people who are going through or have been through OCD, parents and caregivers of those suffering from OCD, and of course anyone that advocates for treatment of OCD. My goal of these interviews is to inform people on all aspects of OCD and bring about awareness of obsessive compulsive disorder. Please remember that I am not a doctor, therapist, or counselor, and the content, information, resources, and ideas that are talked about and brought up here in these interviews are not necessarily the views and opinions of myself, Family OCD, Focused Healthy Family, and Invisible Wheelchair Podcast, and I always recommend to seek additional professional help in finding solutions for yourself. You can find out more about me at FamilyOCD.com, FocusedHealthyFamily.com, and InvisibleWheelchair.com. This podcast interview was recorded September 11, 2017. Today I have one of the greatest opportunities and privileges of my life to be able to interview one of my greatest teachers in my life, my daughter. My daughter is the one that I talk about all the time. She's the one that this podcast was built for. She's the whole reason that I am doing what I'm doing today because of her. And I admire her tremendously for her strength, courage, and persistence. Not just for the fact that through that strength, that courage, and persistence, that she was able to get through the hell that she went through with OCD, but for the fact that even now, after the fact, she has the strength and courage and persistence to talk about it, to get out there and let her voice be heard, and also to allow me to tell the story, to go out and become an advocate for OCD. To me, just says great numbers about her, because she has taught me some of the greatest lessons I think I'll ever have learned through what she has done. And I admire her so much for that. And I want to say I'm proud of who she is and who she has become, because she has become quite the young lady, quite the woman. And I am so proud that today I'm able to let her tell it in her own words as to what it was like, what she went through. And I am so happy that she allows me to be the advocate to get it out there, because she, I think, is also aligned with me as far as wanting to get it out there and let people know and help others who are going through it. So I'm so happy that I have my daughter Abby here today to talk. So let's get to that interview. Well, Abby, I thank you for doing this with me, your father. I feel like we're on, what is that, StoryCorps almost in a way. But I really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for having me.
So I know that we talked about, I wanted to kind of tell your story from your side of it. And I know that you said it's kind of spotty because you were pretty young then, and it took a lot out of you. I can remember that very well with the OCD. But
Yeah.
if you could, maybe you could share the pieces of it that you do remember that really stuck out for you. I would appreciate that.
Sure. I think the first thing I really remember is I had a sleepover with my friend Sophia. And I know there is some issue with like the paint spilling and like taking a shower, but I really remember my my floor just feeling like I was walking over like dirt, like literal like like crumbs of dirt, and it just felt really grainy. And I remember that it just felt wrong. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh God, yeah, that was to me that was the kind of the night that it started. I think.
Mhm. I just remember that. I mean, you guys were telling me that there was nothing there, but it just felt like, like grains of dirt were all over my floor.
Yeah, I remember we had to get rugs out and put them
Mhm.
down to get you to bed. And I think you were pretty frightened of the fact that Sophia was still in the room.
Yeah, that's one thing that I know always bothered me was freaking out in front of other people outside of the immediate family. Something I didn't like to do. Another key kind of freak out memory I have, and I'm not probably not thinking of these in order or anything. We went to get the car. Something was wrong with the car or something, and it needed to be fixed. And we went to that place, and I don't know where it was. And I just had an absolute freak out. And I remember I was wearing like this dress that had like apples on it. I know after that I got rid of the dress. I didn't want to wear it anymore.
Mm.
And the other day I was actually thinking about how many clothing items I had to get rid of and stop wearing because of OCD.
Yeah, I remember that time. We had to get a tire repaired.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Mom saying how tough it was to get you to calm down. To calm down to even get back in the car.
Yeah, I just mostly remember the dress.
Yeah.
I mean, this is much, much more recent and kind of a better memory too.
Okay.
But it was like right after or during the time that I was stuck on the couch,
Mhm.
and we were working on going and getting out in the car. And I remember we gave all of a bath after that, both of us.
Yeah.
And I remember finally being able or finally feeling like I was being able to touch Olive again, my dog, which was, that was just, I just remember how amazing that felt.
Those I used to call them miracle Saturdays.
Yeah, I remember that.
When you would work at something going, if I do this, then maybe I can touch Olive.
Yeah, and just like, well, if I can do that, I might as well do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, the one other thing was the computer because you just really had this goal to get back and using that computer. So you said, well, if I can do this, oh, I could get on my computer, and that was like a big like reward for you, I guess. Is the way I saw it, anyways. That from what you're telling me, that sounds like what it was to you too.
Yeah, it was like a big deal. It was a relief kind of like, I've got this, it was freeing, I
Yeah.
suppose. Trying to think of other memories I have.
When you're like, for instance, when you were on the couch, do you remember like kind of what you were thinking about yourself? Like, were there messages you were saying to yourself, like beating yourself up in a way? Do you remember some of that?
I mean, I don't really remember what I was thinking. I mean, the biggest part of what I can remember what I was thinking was not being able to touch Olive, which
Mm.
was the hardest thing for me during that time, I think. I can remember having her lie on the one end of the couch and eating like corn chips or corn flakes or whatever. and like tossing them at her for her to eat.
Yeah.
Because I felt bad because she had no idea what was going on and why I couldn't touch her.
Well, Mom and I always felt like she was probably one of your first best remedies or treatments was actually Olive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, thinking back, I don't know where I would be without her. She was kind of the light at the end of the tunnel a lot.
And you needed that, I know.
Yeah.
You always described it as all the messages just went crazy up in your head if it was quiet, especially. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime alone or by myself, if I wasn't actively thinking something else or actively engaging my brain with music and reading or thinking up stories, there would just be, I mean, it still happens. I mean, not necessarily always bad thought. The thoughts just are nonstop, and it's pretty difficult.
So I would say Olive was one of your best treatments. What else really worked for you? You did, or we did as a family.
I mean, going to Laurie and doing therapy, that was pretty helpful. You guys being there, just supporting me was, a big part too. When it comes to like treatment measures, the ERP did a lot to help. As much as I might have denied it, it was a big help getting me back to my feet and working again. Another big thing was things to look forward to, like events like the cousins coming down.
Yeah.
Or I remember for a little bit, Aunt Michelle, I don't remember exactly when, but she came down once a month and was working with Training Olive. I don't remember exactly when that was, but that was a big thing to look forward to, and just all the little things that I had to look forward to.
Yeah. When you were down, like when we went to Grammy and Grandpa's down in the lake, or when Michelle came, you seemed to, like the OCD almost went away. Did you realize that?
I mean, yeah, I definitely can see that. I mean, while I'm thinking of it, I can remember times when I really struggled even during these times. But I think, once again, another part of me is when I'm around people outside of our immediate family. So you, Mom, Jason, and Harrison, I wanted to act like I didn't have I didn't have OCD. I wanted to act normal, I guess. I didn't want to be weird. That was a determination.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, that feeling that you were weird, or, that feeling that you were weird because of, I mean, was that prominent? Was that pretty strong as going through OCD? Did you always feel like you were a weird or strange?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't know like the exact words, but I'd say weird fits it. I didn't want to make a scene, I think, in front of people outside of our immediate family. And I don't know if that's how I've always been, because it kind of feels like that is, but honestly, it could be something. I mean, even outside of OCD, I know when I get injured, I try to act like I'm okay, depending on how bad it is, outside of the immediate family. I know I used to do that, but I don't really know when exactly, if it was the chicken or the egg that first, if you know what I mean.
If you, what things did we do or you do that really didn't work? Like if you were going to tell another family, look, here's things you do and here's things you don't do, what would you say are the things you don't want to do?
I mean, I'd say overwork, over push. Take victory in the small things. Don't ignore the small things that happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember, kind of it's right before you end up on the couch, what kind of pushed you over. Do you remember that?
The library book thing?
Yeah, we stepped too far. We were doing the ERP, but we were making it was just like boom, 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 and things were happening.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was texting Lori, and she said, well, if she's in that place, you might want to try it. And you even touched it, but
Hmm.
and they were fine. You were like all happy that evening, but the next day it was like, whoa, and that's when it went backwards. Do you?
Hmm.
So you do remember that?
Kind of. I mean, it's kind of like it's not my memory. It's kind of like I'm remembering something that happened like on TV when I remember it. I don't
Oh,
remember. I mean, I remember it happening, but I can't remember the feelings or the exact words. I can just kind of picture it. I think it's a hard line to find, a very thin line of what's overstepping and what not, and what's
the proper push or whatever.
yeah, what's overstepping versus marching forward. That
Oh,
makes sense.
no, that's a neat way to put it. Anything else that sticks out for you as far as what you went through?
Oh, I remember. This is like very vague memory, and it's hard to put into words. But I remember it was around Harrison's birthday, and we were going out to see one of the latest Harry Potter movies. It was either it's seventh part one or part two. I really wanted to go, but I just the my OCD got really bad, and you guys had to go without me. Mom stayed back with me, I think.
Hmm.
Pretty sure this was all on the same day.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Because I remember we had to call the ambulance. And I can't remember who stayed back with me. Because I feel like it was... Because I remember I was taking my supplements in the bathroom. And I feel like it was Mom who gave me my supplements. And I can't remember if this is all one memory or if it's just been squashed together.
I was going to say I don't remember the ambulance that day. What I remember, ambulances were at night. I think we ended up doing it twice.
No, there was just one time during the day.
Oh, was there? Okay.
It's because I felt like I was choking.
Oh, but it wasn't out of panic.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't. We didn't call the ambulance out of OCD necessarily. We
Oh,
called
okay.
the ambulance because I felt like I was choking
That's because
on my
yeah.
supplements.
Do you remember the ambulance when we did call the ambulance? I don't know if you remember that.
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, you were.
But,
It was pretty bad. I mean, you were really out of it.
I mean, I have like one vague memory in the living room,
Hmm.
but I no, I don't remember that
Yeah.
as much. But I do remember. Was the time we called the ambulance when you guys went to? I feel like it was in one, but I don't know.
As far as what during the day for the choking,
Yeah.
I I don't I might maybe it was me that went because I don't remember that. I mean, there is some vague about you choking, but anyway.
I think it was me and Mom. We called, and that's when, yeah.
So, just kind of curious as to how do you feel like you? Because I mean, OCD didn't necessarily isn't gone, is it?
No.
You wouldn't consider it like how would you describe now then?
The easiest way to describe it is functional,
Okay.
where it's not gone, and I don't think it'll ever be gone. It's not something that will just go away. It's kind of like losing a limb or something.
Okay.
I know that's a weird comparison, but but I mean, when you can get like a plastic or whatever arm if you lose your arm, can't you? Or like a
prosthetic.
yeah, you can get a prosthetic arm, but you're never gonna get like your flesh and bone. I mean, some people
Yeah.
might. You're not gonna get that back necessarily, but you're functional. Or,
Yeah.
again, I guess.
Kind of able to manage it. Is that
Yeah,
another way you would?
yeah,
That's what I tell people is that something that becomes it becomes manageable.
yeah, that's kind of what I meant by functional. It's there. The thoughts and compulsions still occasionally happen, but it's not anything that I can't live with. I don't know. it's not something that people who don't have OCD would think is, how you live life. You don't. It's to a point where I'm still doing things, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, what would you say are your kind of like tools now that you use when you maybe have a flare-up of some sort?
I don't know. Distraction is one. I don't know.
I mean, I think your dogs still are too, aren't they?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think one thing is that my flare-ups, I'm still in control, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where it doesn't become a scene. It's something that is completely internalized.
Any other last thoughts? Like any other thoughts you'd tell somebody else that was going through it?
I mean, definitely find something to live for. And I know that sounds like, you've got your family and your friends, but one thing to focus on and just think, if it's like a TV show or a book or a movie or something that seems silly, but if it's something that you will stay determined for, it's not silly. It's your life and it's important. And I mean, if you like animals, and you can get yourself an animal because they're dependent on you and they're not judgmental and they love you no matter what. Find yourself something that you are passionate in, whether it be, I don't know, sport or other things people are passionate in.
Well, yours is writing, right? I mean,
yeah, writing,
journaling, things like that.
Acting, drawing, anything like that.
Yeah.
Focus on that.
That sounds good. I mean, I'm sorry, what you want to say something else?
And find the little things to look forward to, whether it be hanging out with your best friend or seeing family that you don't get to see that often and you really want to see, trips that you go on, vacations, all that. Set those little things to look forward to and kind of think, I really want to do this. I really want to do this, and just go for it.
In other words, something that kind of motivates you to want to do the work.
Yeah.
I mean, the ERP work was tough stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, you definitely need, I think with ERP, you definitely need rewards after you do it.
Yeah.
You need a reason to do it that just has no flaws to it, like whether it be chocolate, ice cream, food, or if you're doing something big, maybe work up to, I know I bought a tablet, and that was motivation. Or maybe you really like reading. You get a book after you do so much or something.
Well, we ended up getting a Kindle, remember?
I got that for Christmas.
Because you were having trouble touching books, so that was a way for you to still be able to read.
And that's how I started reading the one of my favorite series, the Percy Jackson series. Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I had a Nexus that I bought with my money, but we wanted it to be a reward-based thing. And I remember being kind of frustrated because I paid for it with my money.
Yeah, I remember. I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say.
I paid for that with my money, and I mean.
Yeah, I know.
But,
we're bad parents. Bad.
No, but I mean, looking back on it, I mean, despite my little bits of frustration, but it worked.
Yeah. Well, Abby, it's been really kind of rewarding for me hearing these from your own words, and it was really neat. I enjoyed. In fact, it's brought a little tear to my eyes that it felt good that you're so open to share this. So I really thank you for being part of this.
Thank you for having me.
That concludes this interview podcast. Please leave me a comment or question below. That gives me good direction where to go on future podcasts and interviews. I would love to hear your invisible wheelchair stories if you are willing to share it. If you would go to invisiblewheelchair.com and click on Tell Your Story. I want to remind you that OCD, Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, is treatable. I can help you get past OCD. So, if you have heard this interview podcast and other podcast and you feel like you need further assistance and would like to spend some time with me working through any issues you have, then feel free to book a session at focusedhealthyfamily.com or familyocd.com or call me at 704-562-1630. I also offer $85 off of your initial discovery session if you mention that you heard it on this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this interview podcast and will join me for the next one. Remember, keep tapping, talking, and transcending your life to new heights. Thank you, and have a great day.